You made it. You're rich. Truly, genuinely, life-changingly rich. And within 3 years, there's a 70% chance you'll describe it as the worst thing that ever happened to you. Stay with me. Because what's coming is not what you think. You remember the before. Everyone does. Tuesday nights that smell like instant noodles and dish soap that never quite cleans the pan. The apartment where the radiator clicks 40 times before it decides to work. And you've started to find the clicking familiar, almost comforting. You know exactly which floorboard creaks near the bathroom. You avoid it out of habit, even when no one's sleeping. Your phone has 3 banking apps and you delete the notifications from 2 of them because seeing the numbers makes your chest tight. But you have the group chat, the one where someone sends a meme at 2 a.m. and 6 people reply within 4 minutes because everyone's awake and no one admits why. You have Sunday dinners where the food isn't great but someone always brings wine that's slightly too warm and no one cares. You have a best friend who calls you just to call you. No agenda, no ask. You have a life that is ordinary in every measurable way. Hold on to that. Hold on to the sound of the radiator. Hold on to the warm wine. Hold on to the friend who calls for nothing. Because you're about to get everything you ever wanted. It happens on a Wednesday. Not a dramatic day. Not a day that felt like it was building towards something. You're sitting at your desk, the one with the wobble you've been meaning to fix for 2 years, and you get the call, or the email, or the notification, or the offer. The exact mechanism doesn't matter. What matters is the number. Your hands go cold first. That's the thing nobody tells you. Joy starts in your hands, going cold and slightly numb, like your nervous system doesn't trust it yet. Your heartbeat moves into your throat. You read the number again. Same number. You call someone. You say the words out loud and hearing them outside your head makes them more real and somehow less real at the same time. That night, you can't sleep. Not from stress. From something that feels like excitement but has a strange metallic edge like biting down on aluminum foil. Pleasure with a wrongness underneath you can't quite name. You name it happiness. You go with that. You're wrong, but you don't know it yet. The first thing that changes is how people look at you. Not strangers. People who know you. Your cousin who once borrowed $40 and never mentioned it again now brings it up himself before you can think of it. He laughs when he does. So do you. But something's shifted. A millimeter, maybe, in the geometry of how he stands when he talks to you. Your mother starts saying, "I don't want to bother you," before every sentence. She never used to say that. She just used to call. Your friends still invite you to things, but they ask differently now. There's a half-second pause before the restaurant name, a calibration in real time. Is this place too cheap? Will they feel like we're making a statement? Will they feel like we're asking them to pay? You notice the pause. You pretend you don't. You try to be the same person. You show up the same. You make the same jokes, but you've already started to notice that your same jokes land differently. Some of them don't land at all. Congratulations, you haven't changed yet. You've just become a mirror that reflects everyone else's relationship with money back at them. And almost nobody likes what they see. 3 months in, you move. Of course you move. The new place has ceilings that don't feel like ceilings. They feel like the suggestion of a ceiling somewhere far above you. The floors don't creak. The radiator doesn't click. The silence is a different kind of silence, the kind that doesn't feel earned, the kind that costs you approximately $4,200 a month, and still makes you feel at 3 a.m., strangely alone. You go back to visit your old neighborhood twice. The third time, you notice you're performing nostalgia for yourself, narrating your own life in your head. Here's where I used to get coffee. Here's where I was before. You stop going. The group chat goes quieter, not dead, just quieter. 2 or 3 days between messages now instead of 2 or 3 minutes. When you type something, you reread it twice before sending, checking the register. Are you being too much? Are you reminding them? Of what exactly? You go to a dinner party with people at your new income level. Everyone is polished in a way that takes a lot of money to look effortless. The conversation is good. The wine is extraordinary. You describe the Barolo to yourself. Black cherry, a little smoke, leather at the back, and realize with a mild horror that you've learned to describe wine. You take a car home alone. You text the group, chat a meme. Nobody replies for 6 hours. Here's what the research shows, and I want you to sit with this number, like it's sitting across the table from you. A study from the University of British Columbia found that beyond an income of roughly $75,000 a year, additional money has almost no measurable effect on day-to-day emotional well-being. What it does affect, significantly, is how people perceive their life in the abstract. So you feel like things are going well. You just don't feel it in your body, in your chest, in the Tuesday night moment, when someone sends a meme and 6 people reply. You gained the perception of a life. You lost the texture of it. A 2019 paper published in the journal Psychological Science found that wealthy individuals report significantly higher rates of social comparison, lower trust in others' intentions, and higher baseline anxiety about status maintenance than people in middle-income brackets. You're not just richer, you're more afraid. The richer you get, the more you have to lose, and the more you know, specifically, concretely, in dollar amounts, exactly what losing looks like. And then there's the loneliness data, which is the part that should be in every conversation about wealth, but almost never is. A survey of Americans with a net worth over $5 million found that a majority reported feeling more isolated after reaching that level of wealth than before, not just socially, existentially. The kind of alone where you're at a party and you watch people laugh and you're laughing too, but there's a glass wall between you and the room, and you've stopped being sure which side you're on. In 1985, lottery winner William Post won $16.2 million. Within a year, his brother had hired a contract killer to try to murder him for the inheritance. His landlady successfully sued for a third of the winnings. He bought a restaurant, an airplane, a dozen bad investments. He declared bankruptcy in 1994. He died on government food assistance. He did not die poor because he was foolish. He died poor because money, dropped into a life that wasn't built for it, doesn't fill anything. It pressurizes everything, and pressure finds every crack. You have cracks. Everyone does. You just didn't know where they were. There's a moment, and it comes for almost everyone, when you understand the full shape of what happened to you. For you, it comes on a Sunday afternoon. You're in a room that's beautiful by any measurable standard. Natural light through the floor-to-ceiling windows. A view that costs more than your parents made in a decade. You're comfortable in a way that would have seemed surreal a few years ago, and you're texting someone to make plans, cycling through your contacts with a quiet, practiced efficiency, and you realize, with the particular sharpness of things that are obvious only after you see them, that every relationship you have now exists in one of 2 categories: people who want something from you, and people who are afraid of wanting something from you, which is just wanting something from you with better manners. You try to think of an exception. You think for a long time. The friend who calls for nothing. You haven't spoken in 4 months, not from a fight, from drift. The slow, gravitational drift of 2 people whose lives stopped sharing an orbit. Here's the truth you've been circling without landing. Money doesn't change who you are. It reveals who everyone around you is, including yourself. It strips the social scaffolding, the shared struggle, the mutual dependency, the ordinary friction of being alive near other people, and what's left underneath isn't connection. It's just you. Just you in a room that has no radiator, no creak, no clicking sound that 40 times before it decides to work. Just you with a Barolo you can now describe and a silence that costs $4,200 a month and still doesn't feel like home. You got what you wanted. The problem was never what you wanted. The problem is that wanting it was the thing keeping you tethered to everyone else who wanted it too. And now you don't need to want anything. And the wanting was the whole thing. People will tell you this is a solvable problem. They'll say, give back, find purpose, join communities, do philanthropy, stay grounded, and some people do. Some people build something real out of the resources and the freedom. It's possible. But here's what they don't tell you, the thing that takes years to understand at a level below the intellectual. You cannot unknow the number. You cannot unsee the pause before the restaurant name. You cannot unfeel the cold hands on the Wednesday it happened. That aluminum foil edge that you called happiness because you didn't have a better word. The ordinary life, the radiator, the instant noodles, the meme at 2 a.m. wasn't just a place you lived. It was the medium through which you were connected to other people. Shared limitation is one of the oldest forms of human intimacy. It's why soldiers who've been through terrible things feel closer to each other than to anyone else. It's why the best conversations often happen in waiting rooms and broken-down cars and cheap diners at midnight. You were connected by what you lacked together. You didn't know that's what it was, and now you have everything. And everything, it turns out, is remarkably, specifically, personally lonely. You made it. You're just not sure what you made it to. The money arrived in a single moment and rearranged every quiet thing in your life. The relationships, the identity, the 3 a.m. silence that now costs more than anything you ever owned before. You didn't lose the people. You lost the conditions under which people were simply people, unmediated by the question of what you represent to them now. Nobody tells you this part. Nobody puts it in the fantasy. The fantasy ends at the number. Reality starts the morning after. The money didn't change your life. It ended the one you had and left you to build a new one, alone, from scratch, in a beautiful room with no one to call.